Okay, so the question is, does Purium have lead in it? Because that is what, when you Google search Purium, one of the top search results is this lawsuit. And according to this statement, is that Purium was sued because an accusation that they had lead in them in the products. So, and it's quite ironic because this is a labeling issue. It has nothing to do with ingredients, and it's a result of predatory legal practices. So the state of California created this Proposition 65, where, according to the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, certain finished products, so that's like anything that's manufactured, has to adhere to certain guidelines. They can't have over a certain amount of certain naturally occurring metals, toxic ingredients, right? It makes sense. Like, you want to be protected. However, in this case, the allowable amount is very, very low, and certain naturally occurring heavy metal chelators or phytochelators, sometimes it's pronounced chelator or chelator. These are naturally occurring. They're plants that are proven to bind to toxic heavy metals in your blood, like lead, and remove them, help detoxify from the letters. So on a chemical scan, it will appear as lead, but what it's actually doing is it's binding to the lead and then removing it. So that's the way it works in a nutshell. You could do more research about the science there, but the connection is that these law firms, which were employed as essentially bounty hunters by the state of California, was going after large companies and fast growing companies like Purium because they knew that they would adhere to this labeling, this Proposition 65 labeling, or they have to settle, or they would go to court and be very expensive, or they just stop selling there. So they've made hundreds of millions of dollars. The state, which is in dire economic place right now, they know they could be making millions off these companies. So Proposition 65, this labeling thing, is only in California. So companies that have to adhere to it, there's hundreds, like I think almost 500 companies that have to deal with this labeling thing. So big companies like Starbucks, Disneyland, Walmart, they're forced to label in California only. So Disneyland in California has to put the label. Disneyland in Florida does not have to put the label. That's how much this makes sense. So, and what it has to do with is finished products. So an avocado or a cucumber, raw food sources, is not a finished product, but they're shown to have 8 to 10 times the allowable amount of heavy metals, the ones that they're supposedly protecting us from, in them. So people have no problem with consuming an avocado with 10 times the allowable amount of lead in it, but a supplement company which has 10 times less has to put the labels. So kind of doesn't make sense. Again, the irony is that Purium is chlorella. Cracked cell chlorella is the one product that they had the issue with, and chlorella is known as a heavy metal chelator. So it binds to lead and mercury, other metals in your body that you probably got from your drinking water. I know lots of states, I'm in Montreal, there's lead in the water. It's provable, and the government here just sends you a Brita water filter. If you don't have a good carbon block filter, you're exposed to lead. Chances are it's in your produce, it's in your drinking water. So you want to find a natural solution. So that's where the chlorella comes in. It's a chelator that will bind to it and help remove it. Purium also tries to remove glyphosate, which is in pesticides. So that's the mission. There's no reason why they would try to hide something like this. They're fully transparent. They have 6 different agencies, including the FDA and USDA, organic and kosher, that do the inspections of the facilities, of the food. It has certificates of analysis, COAs, for every single product, including the chlorella, that prove that it doesn't have any toxins or any residue from something like lead, the dangerous kind, not the natural helping kind. So This is a labeling issue. It has nothing to do with ingredients. So I'll put more info in the description. But basically, it's targeted like other companies. You could see the hundreds of other companies that have been forced to adhere to this, who have paid out in settlements because they don't want to go to court. It's very expensive, and the chances they're going to lose against the state. So they settle. That's what Purium did in 2014. They settled. Wasn't that much money, but here they are. Their reputation is sullied because when you search for it, you see this lawsuit and people make that associate. There's lead in Purium. I don't want to give it a chance because of this misnomer. So do your due diligence, do a little research, and look up Proposition 65. I'll put the links again. And really, it's nothing to do with ingredients. It's trying to remove heavy metal from your blood and your system. So I would advise looking into that deeper. And, this comes usually from people we've heard a lot, we are distributors, just to be totally transparent. We are Purium distributors. So yeah, we're defending it, but it's because there's not a lot of clarity online from this. All you see in the top Google result is this lawsuit, and because it affects hundreds of other companies and it only pertains to California and it's a result of predatory legal practices, you could kind of change your perspective on it. And it usually comes from people who want to find something wrong with Purium. I encourage you to delve deeper into Purium. I have, I was skeptical at the beginning too. I thought it seemed too good to be true. But the more you dig, the more kind of impressive this company is. It's been around for 30 years. They're their own manufacturers, so they control the quality, and that way they didn't have to lower the amount of chlorella just to appease this proposition. They kept it because they knew that's how you bind to heavy metals, that's how you remove it, that's how you detoxify it. So they're not going to change. They'll settle for to these predatory lawyers and just be over with it. So going forward, there's no more issues. It's the type of thing where if you only stop researching after the first result, you'll have kind of a distorted perspective of things. So from someone who's been doing this for a while, who's done research, who's curious, I wouldn't want to give my family any lead. I wouldn't want to poison myself with lead, but I do want to detoxify it. That's why I take Purium and crack cell chlorella, so that I could remove the lead that's in my Montreal drinking water. So that's it in a nutshell. I hope that helps. And yeah, ask questions below. But again, do your due diligence, do your research, and then come to a conclusion. Have a great day.